Plaintiff Michelle Saucedo is a transgender female who's involved in transgender pageants. Michelle claims the defendant is a well-known hairstylist, and she paid the defendant $100 to make a wig for her witness for one of her pageants. However, on the day of the pageant, the defendant was a no-show, so she's suing for the cost of the wig. Defendant Devon Henderson says he's been doing hair for 17 years for female impersonators. Devon says he did have the wig ready on the day of the pageant, but admits that he couldn't meet Michelle to give it to her because he had a death in his family.
All right, how does he owe you for a wig?
Okay, Your Honor, I'm a transgender female from Rockford, Illinois, where I captured the title of Miss Rockford 1999. And shortly after that, the pageant folded, and I wanted to keep the art of female impersonation going. So what I did was I took leadership of the pageant and later changed the name because of copyrights to Miss Forest City, where over the years I've promoted some very, very well-talented individuals. This year, I'm fortunate enough to have Miss Alicia Blake, who is my contestant, which I have pictures of Alicia. There you are, sir. And this is Alicia's first year of doing pageantry. So I wanted Alicia to have the best. And so I've seen work of the defendant, Devon Henderson. I've seen his work, and his work has actually been untouchable, up until the point where I hired him to do a job for me. Devon told me that it would cost me $100 for him to do the updo for my contestant. And in doing so, he asked that I Western Union him $100, which I did on the 16th of October of '08. So I drove to Chicago the day of the pageant, which was November 3rd. And to my dismay, he never answered the phone. I got all the way to the Eisenhower Expressway. By the Independence exit, he calls me. He tells me that his uncle had passed away. I'm sorry, and I, gave him my condolences, but I just wanted to know how could I get the wig because, we were going up there empty-handed. And so I needed the hairpiece, and I didn't hear any noise in the background.
Your uncle close?
Yes. That was my mother's brother.
Okay.
So I went on over to Devon's house. His aunt came out. And I says, is Devon here? She says, no, I haven't seen Devon in a week. And I says, well, he told me that he would be here. She says, well, baby, that's my nephew, and he is a mess. And so me and Alicia was standing there, and she looked at she was like, oh, my goodness, but I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. And Alicia was looking upset. She was like, oh, wow. And so the woman says, don't look at me like that. I ain't got my teeth in. So Alicia had excused herself. She had excused herself. And so we got in the vehicle and we drove to Wisconsin. We had texted and called Mr. Henderson, and he texted us and called us back. He told me that he was on his way. He told me that he was at the bus station. He was waiting on the bus. He was getting on the bus. I said, well, do you need me to pick you up? He says, no, I'll catch a cab to the club. And because he had assured me, I didn't have a second plan of action.
Never showed up.
No, he never showed up.
Why didn't you just tell her? Well, I was at the funeral home and I noticed one of the other bodies, the hair wasn't straight. So I put the wig on one of the other bodies or something. That's a better one. Doesn't that sound a little more feasible?
Yes, it would,
A lot of times you go to those funeral homes, they have a lot of bodies and everybody didn't made up right. I went over to Leake's funeral home. Leake's funeral home in Chicago, my assistant's family had. And, I still had my makeup from the television show. And so I went over there for a service, very good friends with the League family. And so they were trying to be nice, I guess. I said, come on, let me take you in the back. Debbie didn't do your makeup right today. Let me take you where we make up the other people. I said, well, y'all not taking me back there with them dead folks and make me up like you make them. I said, I don't care how I look. Debbie has me looking better than some dead folks, I promise you. I look better than them dead folks, don't I? My makeup.
Yes, you do, y'all.
All right. So you couldn't give her that excuse about you gave it to one of the dead folks?
It wasn't that. My uncle actually did pass that morning.
I know.
And when we talked, first of all, I've been doing hair for 17 years with female impersonators. As she said, I do have a credible record. I have delivered on numerous of times. This time, my uncle passed, so I actually couldn't get to her. Yes, I did tell her that I would come. And not charging her anything extra or anything like that. I said, I'll come up there. Well, dealing with family, it didn't actually go as planned. I did make the wig. I told her I had it, which I did. I have it with me here today. And we spoke. I told her, if you want to get it, you can get it. If not, I'll give you $100 back.
Your Honor, he never mentioned having the wig.
Yeah. You're making a big deal out of $100 wig. I guess it's a principle.
See, the old me would have went another way about getting my money.
Now,
but see, Your Honor, the new me ain't going to deal with all that.
Who was going to wear this?
That's the wig that he had made for Alicia.
All right.
And he did send us pictures. He did send us pictures of the wig that he was making, but unfortunately, we didn't get the wig.
You want the wig or your money?
No, I want my money now. The wig's not going to do any good. The pageant is over.
Come on up. State your name.
My name is Devin Brooks, Your Honor. All I can say is Michelle, she was out of her money, but I was the one left standing there, you know, and not only did he text her, but he also texted me and assured me that he would be there. And I think he could have had common courtesy, you know, because I was left there without a dresser, you know, and luckily I had a friend that was able to catch a cab and get to the bar, you know, quick enough so that I could get out on stage. And if anybody knows anything about a drag show or a drag pageant, it's running. This was actually my first state pageant, and I wound up scoring very low in evening gown competition because of the hair. I mean, you need a updo to go, you know, with the evening gown. Okay. So, you know, he had me out there looking a hot mess because it was, you know, I mean, it was just a stand-up. And
have you won anything since?
Not yet, but I'm actually going on further to keep competing.
All right.
Know, and
is that becoming a bigger and bigger event?
Yes, it is. As a matter of fact, we're leaving tomorrow morning for Dallas, Texas to Miss Gay US of A pageant.
How many people you think will be
there's
there?
40 contestants.
I know, but in terms of audience attendees, I'm just trying to understand how popular these shows are.
Oh, I don't know. Well, the Baton is here in Chicago, and it's a very popular place.
How many people come?
Oh, I don't know how many people come. I know the place is always packed, standing room only.
Really?
You know, oh, yes.
I've worked with Miss Continental since I was about 21. And we're at the Park West. It's completely packed from the bottom of the stage up to the balcony.
Okay. Now, just to educate our viewers and me in terms of making reference to things correctly, in the past, they would call these drag queen shows.
Most definitely.
That's the same thing. We can call it that.
Is.
Drag queens.
Yes.
All right. Good enough. Just make sure I'm politically correct because they may have a different name because, you know, back then they used to have various names that are now politically incorrect.
I think that we've come a long way in society.
Being open, a little more open society.
I just need my money.
That's right. That's right. All them social messages, I can save that. Just give you your money. $100 for the plaintiff. You have no legal defense. She doesn't want the wig back. It's no longer useful for the purposes of which you were paid. So $100 for the plaintiff. You all have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.